What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, John Fosco and I are about to have a conversation like we do multiple times a week. We're going to talk a little bit about this and a little bit about that, Fosco, and guaranteed for your listening pleasure, of course. Right, John?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a talk today. I think this is the worst intro to get people interested in our show that we've done in a long time. There's no meat on the bone. There is no there. But we promise you that we will entertain.
Yeah, what an amazing intro. Today is brought to you by
We're going to have a fucking
Genius. Policy Genius, John. You got to check out policygenius.com, especially when you're looking for life insurance and all type of your insurance needs. Policygenius.com is where you need to go. You must go there right now. All right, Fosco.
Okay.
Listen, something that we got to talk about, at least to, just pay
in the streets or just in general?
Man, well, it is in the street, but the crazy amounts of shootings that just happened in our country is straight up fucking scary, bro. Like the last one that was in Ohio, down in the Dayton area, I believe, was outside of a pub. And I looked at Rachel when I saw this on the news, and I said, Ray, that's easily somewhere any of us could have been, especially us. I go to pubs in every city that, whether my daughter's doing gymnastics or my kids are playing baseball, you find me at the pub. I could have easily,
dog.
I could have easily been standing in that same spot. And so that one, for some reason, hit. They all hit home, but that one being in Ohio and being where it was, and just the staggering difference between what's happening in our country and other countries, it's scary and sad, bro. Like, there's a lot of emotions, and I know everybody can feel this right now.
Yeah, man, I'll say a couple things. One, if you add up El Paso, which was 20 dead in a Walmart, and Dayton, which I think was 9 or 10 dead. If the individual or individuals were Islamic, like I said before the show, we would be bombing a fucking country right now. We would be bombing somebody if they were Islamic and had a connection to anybody who might be Al Qaeda or ISIS or this or that. So I just do not understand how it is okay for us to average, like you referenced, more than one mass shooting a fucking day. That's a statistic.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you say, Corey, is the closest country this year? We have 249.
Yeah, so
what's the closest country?
We have 249. And I believe it's Mexico has 3. Let me double check. I got a screenshot it. But yeah, it's staggering. Yeah, Mexico has 3 and Canada has 1. Brazil has 1. It's like 249 to 1 to 3. Like it is.
That's called second place is 1% of us. And that's where the cartel lives. Okay. And they're at 1% of us. And we're so fucking stuck in mud right now because one side is saying, oh, guns this, and the other side is saying guns that. It doesn't fucking matter. People are being children, innocent people are being massacred daily in the greatest supposed country in the history of the world, where people are supposed to live happy, live free. Dude, if you're a fucking lawmaker and you are sitting on your fucking hands and doing nothing, I really hope this doesn't happen, but the odds are increasing every day that one of our fucking family members is going to get fucking shot at a fucking mall, shot at school, but no one wants to take this fucking shit seriously. And the people we rely on to dictate the rules of this country, they read a piece of fucking paper that has talking points. They are a bunch of do-nothing fucking idiot. Both sides. Yeah. This shit's been going on since Columbine. No other country has it. No one wants to do anything about it. They just want to say, oh, it's a mental health issue. Okay, it's a fucking mental health issue. Now what, dude? You were put in power to solve a fucking problem. Children are being massacred. Is that not a reason to act? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
I don't get why there's not a stark, aggressive move towards a real solution. It's only compounding more and more. And it literally, I've never really been afraid to go places, but when that starts to enter your mind, when you let your kids go off to their elementary school in the morning, or you are going out to the pub because you're in a town and you want to check it out, or you're going to the movie theater. Like I said on a previous podcast, I haven't not thought about the one that was in the movie theater since it happened when I go to the movies. And that was I think that was shortly after Columbine. That was a long time ago, but that's burned into my brain. And it's like, if we are this country that we say we are, it's like somebody got to have a solution. I don't know the right answer, but gosh, why aren't we finding one, Johnny? It's just, it's unfortunate that my kids, this is their norm, bro. This is like their anxiety levels are going to be, maybe not them personally, but just that age group in general is going to be astronomical. How could it not be? If that's what you're
that's part of, I think that is right? Part of the reason this stuff is happening. So imagine the pressure cooker you live in as a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old. You don't know how to deal with stress as a young kid. But what you do is you feel scared. And when you feel scared, you can isolate yourselves. The kids make fun of you. Then you see all these people getting fucking attention. Like, this is all like all these pieces connect, man. All these pieces connect. And all I can say is you can't expect kids to solve problems. You can't fucking yell at a kid who's fucking mentally ill, who fucking did it. Sure, they're horrible people for doing that. You have to put the fucking onus on the individuals who have authority over these people. Right? Supervisors. Like, there has to be some sort of check and balance in place for people who have mental deficiencies. And guys, no one's trying to take away your fucking guns. I think we're all gun owners. No one's trying to take away your fucking guns. But God damn it, if I got to fucking study to fucking get a driver's license, why the fuck can I just walk in somewhere and get a goddamn gun? Let's just have some common sense. No one's going to take away your guns, but guns should not be so easy to be gotten. They shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's the where do we go from here, Johnny, with the country though?
I don't know. I think what you would normally do, think about if it's a business. Okay. Yeah. We have this problem. And it's insane. And it's literally 99 times what anyone else is. Let's look to a country, and they're everywhere, that doesn't have this problem. What's the difference? Let's compare. Oh, guns are illegal. Oh.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Is it in most of those countries? Are they? I don't even know. In most of those countries, are they illegal?
Yes.
Gotcha. Interesting. So it's like a stark difference. There's like all or nothing. I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing, basically. Yeah. Interesting. Well, either way, the views on it, it's like something we have to talk about because it's so much in the forefront of what's happening right now. And whatever side of the fence you sit on, like John said, we both own guns. I've been around hunters my whole life. My whole family hunted deer, and like no one's saying anything like that. It's about how do we fix from people getting shot when they're just going to the fucking grocery store, for God's sakes. It's fucked up.
Right.
All right. Another thing I saw, John, which I think is real relevant to institution and the sports agent, obviously what you were for years and still playing a little bit now, is this Rich Paul. They're calling it # the Rich Paul rule. So basically, I'll give you guys the kind of background. The NCAA instituted a memo that said any college athletes, this in particular basketball, that are entertaining the next level, there must be a period of time where they can, not declare, but try to see basically if there's interest. And they can't sign with an agent that does not have a bachelor's degree. Now, where they came up with this is people are trying to cover it up, saying that it's because, well, somebody's cousin that isn't, shouldn't be and doesn't have like or their parent that shouldn't, be representing that. Like, they're trying to say it's more of that. What it really comes down to is the talent's leaving is not even either going to college or leaving early besides the rules and finding other opportunities, which Rich Paul has been a huge proponent of. And for you guys that don't know who Rich Paul is, he's LeBron's guy. He owns Clutch Sports. He's got Anthony Davis, LeBron, Kuzma, like all these huge names. And he's finding ways for kids to get around the rules. He just signed a huge deal with some overseas agency too, and they're going to be sending kids all over the place around the NCAA because kids are tired of getting used. And so as a former / sports agent currently from the UFC, John, you're the first person I thought of when I read this who doesn't have a college degree, who ran millions of dollars of contracts in the UFC. And like, what if they would have come and said, John, you can't go grab people out of the LFA because you don't have a fucking 4-year degree to take them to the UFC. Like, are you fucking joking me? That shit just makes me mad in general because of not having a bachelor's degree and fucking, I feel like I've done pretty well in life. So it's like, if you're putting that kind of those regs on somebody like that just I think it sucks, but it's all about money. So anyway,
yeah, it's as simple as this. Oh, you like, okay, the people who are mastering and learning and putting practices in place to get around the rules are always ahead of the people trying to make them, because the people trying to make them are chasing the people who are outsmarting the system, right? So if somebody tried to come at me like that, it'd be real fucking simple. Number one, I'd laugh. Number two, I would get fucking I'd either hire some college kids with college degrees or get some college interns. I would be on the phone with the big fucking recruit, and I would say, any formal meeting or anything, okay, I own this company, but your agent is Steve, and Steve works for me, just graduated from University of Michigan. He's not really your fucking agent, but he's your agent for formal fucking reasons. And I would fucking get around that in a split fucking second. They can't police it. See, when you start doing things like that, you literally are showing like you're pulling off your mask and you're showing your horns, because the NCAA is Satan. Literally, these kids are livestock. They're livestock for the NCAA. They are their money. And to not understand that if you are a poor kid, or even not a poor kid, just a kid who knows, if I blow out my knee on a routine layup in practice, my multi-million-dollar career that I've been working my whole life for is fucking over. If you don't have the understanding that, like, listen, we need to change our rules to make this game a little fairer to the people who are bringing in all the revenue for the NCAA, college football players, college basketball players. Let's just call it what it is. So for you to try to play catch up as opposed to getting in front of the issue and doing the right thing and sharing, right? Just sharing some of that multi-billion-dollar purse. Share some of it, right? Like they're going about it the wrong way, and they will be outsmarted by people like Rich Paul and many others, because they're a bunch of fucking old dudes sitting in a room trying to cling to this thing that they created. That's been a cash cow. Kudos to them. But things are changing. Society is changing, and it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah, and people are gonna, revolt against the system, for lack of a better term. It's like, yo, look, these kids just keep getting used. It's just the truth. And like, when you think of what I loved about what you said, number one, I'd laugh. Right. Any true entrepreneur sports agent would be like, this is the easiest thing in the world to get around, because that's what we do, is get around things and make things work and be creative. So it's like, first of all, most real guys would laugh and go, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you old fuckers that sat in a room thought this is going to keep me out of poaching the best talent because I got one more legality. And that's what I wrote on Twitter. I tweeted out when SportsCenter wrote this, and I quote tweeted and said, this rule is fucking stupid. Being a sports agent has nothing to do with college. It's a profession that's all about creative negotiating, outside the box thinking, being a deal maker, and a relationship specialist. Like, on top of it, these guys are savvy fucking animals. Like, they're not going to like sit down. You know what they're going to do? Like you said, John, you're showing your horns, what you're really about. They're going to fuck it even worse. They're going to
they're going to use
right,
that, right? So if I was talking to a kid, right, and I was like, hey, the NCAA just said I can't fucking be your agent, the kid's going to say, what? And they're going to have the kid, the future superstar, is going to have more animosity towards the NCAA, and he's going to move the kid, the superstar, is going to move more towards the agent and not listen to the coach and not listen to the school and not listen to the institution, because they know as well as the agent that this is insanity and that the NCAA simply wants to use them to make more money. And the agent's like, nah, bruh, here's the path for you that we just had to create, but we're getting around this. So when you show your horns, NCAA, all you do is motivate kids to not play in your fucking March Madness in every other fucking game.
I saw, and here's a prime example of it, Johnny. So I think it's Al Harrington. Does that ring a bell? He was a former NBA guy, right?
Al Harrington. Didn't he go to where did he go to, Georgetown?
I think so, and I think he played for like the Pacers, and I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw this I saw it on Twitter. There was him and two other players, and I'll have to look up who they are, bought into an Australian professional basketball team. And they're saying, hey, kids, and they're probably linked up with Rich and these guys, I'm sure. Yo, you don't want to play that year in college? Come to Australia, and you can make, I think they said it's like 40,000 a game or something like that. So basically they can go and make, $500,000 or more per year in a short season in Australia while they play against other professionals, while they're working on their game, and then come to the NBA. And it's like, this is happening aggressively of guys that have went through that system and are pissed off. And now
capitalism, my friends, for the free market, it's a beautiful thing.
It's there. And I agree with you. If I'm a kid, I'd be like, fuck this establishment. Half the time I fucking think like that now. I've been thinking like that my whole life. So have you probably. It's like, fuck the way that everyone else does it. You know what? They want to fucking just, take my fucking time and money. And yeah, if I blow my knee out, they don't give two fucks about me. At least if I go to Australia and play, I can make a fucking $500,000 or more and then get better and then have a shot. It's like, fuck all this shit, man. I think that I'm glad it's changing because I'm tired of this shit. And when you start bringing in that, because dude, back to the 4-year degree stuff, 2 years of it is just a fucking cash grab on a bunch of shit you don't need. And then you might have 2 years of what you actually need for your profession, which most of the time people don't use anyway when they're done. So it's like, I just think that they're putting that in. It's just so irrelevant to what's happening unless you're a lawyer, bro, and you're a sports agent. It just, I don't know.
There's two institutions that used to be gigantors, monsters that are really making all the wrong decisions and that are failing. And one of those is the Catholic Church, and the other one is 4-year colleges. Because what the NCAA is trying to do, they're probably realizing that so many kids want to go into being a sports agent, and they're like, well, we need to up enrollment, because I'm sure enrollment's down because everyone's figuring out that people are hiring based on skills, not based on degrees. So this is just another move that old thinking puts in place to think that they're going to reinvigorate the old system. No. The old system has to adapt to the new way of life. The old system just can't stay in the past. If it stays in the past, it gets passed by. But one thing I want to say in regards to sports and kind of this thinking is I have a little bit of a different opinion on it. when it comes to professional sports. So Ezekiel Elliott just said,
I was just going to bring this up. Go ahead. I can't wait.
He just said, I'm not playing unless I get a new contract. He's got 2 years. He's got 2 years.
He has 2 years left.
Yeah. And it's for the same reason that the college kid probably wants to go to Australia. Like, my body could break down. But the difference is, Zeke and every other pro, like, you signed a deal. Like both parties put pen to paper. And there's not 1 year left on the deal. Sometimes when there's 1 year left on the deal, okay, your rewards. There's 2 years left on the deal. And Zeke has had what? Just one big year, right?
Yeah, 2 big years, but it was in between 1 or 2 years of kind of some problematic type shit. So yeah, so I think this will be his going into his 4th year. I think I could be one off, but he's had one monster.
I think
year.
He's going into his 3rd year. I think.
Yeah, maybe he's going. So he had.
Yeah, I think he had one monster last year.
Yeah. Well, his rookie, he was rookie of the year, and he was the rushing leader, I believe, in year 1. And then he got fucking So look, remember him and Dak had that streak where they won I think 10 or 11 games, and so he killed it year 1, got in trouble year 2, balled out year 3, which would be last year.
Year 3, okay.
I believe so, because he basically sat out almost all of year 2.
Gotcha.
But I'll double check my facts. I'm sure some people are gonna hit us up.
No. I can be. Either way, it's this kind of shit that I think ruins pro sports, because you are in a position where you're making the money you wanted to make, and then it's like, guess what? When you're the team, we always say, there's only one kind of deal where both sides win. When you're the team. And you pay Zeke all the money like they paid him, you are expecting epic output. He's a high draft pick, and he puts up epic output, but then he wants more. So what should the team have done? Pay you that money for average output? No, no, it's not. It's not fair to the team. So I think in pro sports, this is very, very different. And I think it's a shame to see these guys who, more than anything, what Ezekiel Elliott is doing. Forget his financial, situation's fine. He's making plenty of money. But what he's doing is he's fucking taking the Cowboys and he's making them their hostage. And if I'm Dak Prescott, if I'm the rest of that fucking team that I think went to the 2nd round of the playoffs last year, I'm fucking pissed, bro. I mean, we just saw what happened with Le'Veon Bell. I don't know what that guy's going to do in New York, but dude, his name is forever tarnished. I wouldn't want him on my team.
Yeah. Well, and I was listening, actually funny, I was listening to this stuff this morning, and they were saying that the Cowboys got all kinds of fucking problems because they didn't anticipate Zeke.
They were not anticipatory, were they?
Not with 2 years left. And by the way, Dak and Amari all want extensions too. Jerry Jones better drill a new oil well, because he's about to spend.
Well, I think Jerry Jones has enough oil wells. Jerry Jones. He better stop with the Botox, is what he. Because there you go. Well, he's definitely
his forehead is definitely.
His forehead
stiff.
is not moving, bro. His forehead. That thing ain't moving, dude. Hey, listen, if he went outside in a hurricane, that thing isn't moving. I'm telling you right now.
He's got less wrinkles than us, John. He's like,
dude,
75.
That guy could get hit with a palm tree across the face, and his forehead wouldn't move.
It's I wonder, and I don't know this to be a fact, but I wonder if this came before, after, or simultaneous to the Mike Thomas deal. So he sees Mike Thomas only had 1 year, I believe, left on his contract, signs for $100 million with the Saints, and he's the highest paid receiver of all time, I believe. And then it's like, all of a sudden that now his homie from Ohio State's doing the same, or, trying to get a similar type big deal. And I don't know but here, you're a running back, your time's short, but to your point, you put pen to paper. It's not like you're getting paid peanuts.
Yeah, you know that,
dude.
Yeah.
And you know that. So I agree. There's two different things, John. That the kids are getting taken advantage of in college. I really believe that. But these guys, it's a true business contract, and I mean, have you ever broke contract like that in the UFC days? Have you ever went where there was like because they have 3 and 5 fight deals and held out? Like, have you had this situation that you could speak from personally?
I've had the situation before, and basically, the UFC still does business differently because the fighters still have less leverage than other athletes. But I was in a similar situation, and basically, like 2 or 3 times, and basically, it's like, okay, you can either keep this money. And basically the way that a UFC contract works is as you win, your purse goes up. You're showing your win pay go up and up and up and up. But
hey, Jones, explain what that is real quick, because I guarantee a lot, and you taught me this,
sure,
so I guarantee a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah, so if someone has like first things first, a UFC contract is basically all their contracts are 1 fight contracts, even if you sign an 8 fight contract, because they reserve the right to cut you at any time. So you could be very excited about your 8 fight contract. You can get your ass whooped on your fucking first fight, and they can say, sorry, we're going to cut you, and you have no repercussions. So
is the NFL the same? NFL is the same way, right? They can cut you at any point.
I mean, that's when guaranteed money comes in, though. That's why all these guys get guaranteed money, because they actually, that money's guaranteed. But yes, I believe so. But I can't speak on that. But in terms of the fighters, if you get, let's say, a 5 fight deal, okay, we'll agree to pay you 100 and 100. And then if it's a 5 fight deal, if you win your first fight, then you move up to 120 and 120. What I mean by 120 and 120 is 120 to show up in the cage, and then 120 to win. So if you win your fight, you win 240. You get 240. If you lose it, you get 120. Now, there are discretionary bonuses, which the UFC gives you, and they also give you outfitting pay because Reebok is the outfitter. That adds up to anywhere, could be 20,000, could be 50,000, could be 100,000. It all depends. But sometimes when you're challenging for the title, you say, listen, I'm going to make 280 and 280 on this next fight, but we've smashed 6 guys in a row. Like, give us a deal where we got guaranteed money. Like, give us like 800 guaranteed, or, $1 million or something. And they'll either do it or say, no, why don't you fight out your contract? We're going to give you a beast. And if you could beat this beast, then we'll give you what you want. So they let you put your nuts on the table a little bit. And then what I will say about the UFC is, if you do that, if you put your nuts on the table, they give you what you ask for, but they make you prove it in the toughest way possible. So it's a really interesting structure, but you can't really ask for guaranteed money unless you're contending for a title.
Yeah, and what I like it is, if you fight your way there, they reward you, is what you're saying.
Yes, they do. They do.
So they don't mind paying the dollar if you're delivering, do they, John?
Correct. That's correct.
Which is good, because, and I'm sure that's what some of these NFL guys think. Hey, man, if I'm the top back in the league, which is what Le'Veon thought, but I like that Pittsburgh didn't just bend over for him. You know what I'm saying? And will he be able to then deliver?
And James Conner went to the Pro Bowl.
There you go. And James Conner's a better story, by the way, too. The guy's fought cancer and all these type of things. What's interesting is I heard today, and I don't believe this to be true, that Zeke would actually sit out up to 2 seasons. I don't fucking believe that for 1 second. Like, that's a long
isn't his money
time.
Isn't his money guaranteed?
I mean, he would have already got his guaranteed money from the first deal, yeah, but to sit out for 24 months, a long time not to play anything. Even if you're awesome.
I mean that's everyone's threat to the organization, but right. I think Zeke continues to get paid. I think that's the deal.
That would be astronomical if you're still getting that guaranteed money while you're sitting around and he's in Cabo, by the way, on his agent's compound working out. Like,
right.
Dude,
no, he's partying. He's getting fatter. Yes. These guys are all. Man. What happened to team, dude? If you're a leader, if you're Ezekiel Elliott, bro, like, how can you let your team down like that?
See, I don't understand that. I would think I have so much gratitude for getting paid this amount of money. This organization believes in me. I'd want to be there with my guys, man. And like everybody that I talked to, I just saw Boom the other day and I asked him what he missed. He's been out for 3 years now. He's like, man, he's like, the locker room, bro. He's like, you're in there like it's the same shit we've had since we was in high school or pee-wee. Like, it's the guys, it's the, the banter, it's the mess around, it's winning and losing and persevering together. He's like, it's the fucking locker room, bro. It's not just all about you and money. And I know there's a spot for that, but when you got 2 years left on your deal, man, you should be there in the grind with your team. If I'm if I'm your O line, he goes O line and running backs are always got that relationship.
Exactly.
I'm fucking pissed right now, bro.
Oh,
I'm thinking, how the fuck are we gonna win if you're in fucking Cabo, drinking margaritas, but oh, by the way, took a picture dragging a fucking tire in the sand for a second. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, and also if I'm your fucking old line, I'm saying, hey, those numbers you got, those rushing numbers, yeah probably fucking 50% of them are because of us, motherfucker. Like, Jesus Christ, like, have some appreciation. No one knows the offensive lineman's name, but like, they make it possible for James Conner, like we just said, Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. I mean, for you to plug in a James Conner after a Le'Veon Bell and for him to statistically have that season, that doesn't say that much about Le'Veon Bell, to be perfectly honest.
No. It just goes to show. Now, I do believe that Ezekiel Elliott is top tier best.
He
question.
He is.
He makes a stark difference when he's there and when he's not. But I don't believe that this is the right play, but hey, sometimes business is what it is, and we'll see how it plays out. Jerry Jones is going to pay, so we know that he's going to pay for Botox and he's going to pay this deal.
He wants to protect him. He wants to protect himself in case there's a hurricane.
Yeah, no, I think that was some good dialogue. I just think it's also one thing I want you to talk about real quick, John. We'll wrap it up. I know you've had a ton of questions about how the fuck do you become a sports agent? Here's the one question I always like. Who do you got to ask? Well, this is kind of coming back to the NCAA. I've had people ask me about certain things I've done. Like, who did you have to ask to start that? Or how did you actually get, like, because I think the sports agency is this very intriguing kind of job that, like, you're not sure. Are they lawyers? Are they how
you got to have a nut
sack.
You have to have a nut sack.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Like, can you just
So you ask nobody. You ask nobody, and you have to have a nutsack because you need to look a professional athlete in the face, and you need to say, "I can do this for you," and then you got to go do it. Because if you go do what your fucking nutsack allowed you to say, then they say, "Oh, okay, this guy's fucking straight." And just like you talked about, Boom in the locker room and all these guys, every athlete talks. And one of them says, hey, this guy, number one, you could trust him. Number two, he delivers. Number three, I'm making more money now with him straight up. And then his buddy on the team went, hey, can I get his number, man? My guy's slipping a little bit, man. I didn't make as much. It just snowballs. So you literally need to, let's say, have a relationship with a company. You need to have a network of people that you're connected to that can benefit an athlete, and then have the fucking ball sack to approach an athlete, look them in the fucking eye, which is the hardest part, and say, if you give me an opportunity, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to pull this fucking deal for you. I'm going to fucking get you paid on this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And if they're like, how? Just watch me. Give me a fucking chance. And here's the beautiful thing. I used to say at the beginning, before I had like no name in it, I would say, here's the deal. Because you can't trust me or you haven't seen my work, here, let's sign this agreement, right? You can fire me at any time. So if I let you down, if I'm not performing, you can fire me at any motherfucking time. But what I would do is, once I landed a deal or kept my word, we would put a new agreement in place that does not allow them to fire me at any time, and obviously allows me to get paid on those deals. But when you look someone in the eye and say, motherfucker, fire me at any time, I'm going to do this, then it's like, okay, I got nothing to lose.
Well, and in your old business, John, is like the fighters would be in the back locker room and your guys would be tatted up with logos everywhere for sponsorships, right? And they'd be like, have no sponsors or one sponsor on their short. They'd be like, wait a second, who the fuck's your agent? And to your point, it's like, I remember Cowboy Cerrone, which I'm not a fan of, by the way, but that's in the whole nother podcast. But I remember him telling me, one time when I asked him that there was fights where he made more by you being his agent than he did actually in the cage.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Right? And and I'm sure there was multiple guys. So think about that for a second. John, as the agent, who didn't have a bachelor's degree, by the way, who, found his way into it, I believe, through Clay, right? But Clay was your first client. Is that right?
Yep.
It is now getting guys more on their endorsements, on sponsorships, than that they're my biggest point is the delivery, motherfuckers. Listen to me for a second. When you have a craft and you deliver to that level, how could Cowboy Cerrone not tell people, check this out. I'm making more off my fucking agent than I'm making in the fucking cage right now. Do you know how much that rings true? That's why motherfuckers were calling John Fosco, because of his delivery. Everyone quit fucking talking about what you're going to do and just go fucking do it. Cause guess what? Then that shit starts happening and then it snowballs the way you want it to go. It comes down to fucking actually doing it. Yeah. I cannot hammer that home enough, right, John?
And that's where the nutsack comes in, because everyone listening who knows who the fuck Cowboy is could only imagine how intimidating it would be to sit outside his RV, right? I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, looked him in the eye, and I said, I'm going to take 20% of your money, right? His show and win money, and I'm going to deliver at this level. And he's like, you're going to take 20% of what? And if you know who Cowboy Cerrone is, just put yourself in my shoes. And I was trembling, but he couldn't tell. I looked him fucking dead in his eye under the fucking cowboy hat. I'm like, motherfucker, don't kick me in the head. But yeah, you got to have a fucking nutsack. And I did, and he benefited and I benefited.
Think about that too, John. You're an intimidating guy, no question. And you weigh like 220 roughly. Cowboy weighs like what? 180 or something, and
but it doesn't matter.
Obviously, he's a trained killer.
My head through the fucking wall. Yeah,
of course. That's my point. And you're so confident about your business at that point, and that's the other point I think that's great about this. Every point of our lives in our business, there's going to be those spots where you are nervous, but you're still confident, and you're not showing your cards. You're staring them dead in the eye, and you're getting it done. And hopefully, they can't see it on you, and most of the time they can't, but we go through those type of things, bro. Everybody does. And you get them done. You fucking deliver on it. And then you move on. And over time, you keep building a bigger confidence as you work through things like this. And this is all part of the process of building something for yourself and building a name and a reputation and a career. Everyone goes through these things, bro.
And what was interesting, now that you got me thinking about it, is once it was night and like there was this fucking bonfire. I remember it. He yelled like Leonard. So anyone who knows old school MMA knows Leonard Garcia was in some of the craziest fucking fights you've ever seen. Just one of the scrappiest motherfuckers ever. But Leonard's Cowboy's like brother. So basically, once Cowboy understood it, he's like, Leonard, come out here. He's like, this dude wants to take 20% of my money, but he says he can do this for me. And Cowboy's like, I think I'm going to do it. And Leonard's like, yeah. He was like eating some chicken. He's like, all right, I'll do it too. and literally, like, it just was like, okay, cool. Leonard's on board. Leonard fought in the UFC for a long time. Fucking great guy, but just as
so fun to watch
fights like a motherfucker. So yeah, literally, because I was talking to Cowboy, that's another example of kind of how you can build a business in it, right? Because I'm talking to Donald, Cowboy, and then Leonard just, okay, boom, he's in,
Talk about the first time you negotiated with Dana White, John. Did you have as a sports agent?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got guys under contract and you're walking in to talk to the big boss.
Yeah. I mean, that is intimidating, and you have to know that you're walking in and it's going to be intimidating, and he's going to use his stature as Dana White to intimidate so he can be dominant. So I knew that fucking walking in, and he immediately attacked me when I walked in, and immediately attacked me because he loves to negotiate with the fighters because he fucking hates agents, because he knows agents get more money for the fighters. So what he tries to do is use his enormous name and celebrity and call the fighters. And he says, bro, answer the phone or there's going to be problems. And then obviously as an agent, you have to train your fighter. You cannot talk to the organization. I have to negotiate for you because they cannot be angry with you. They can be angry with me. So basically, I have people stick to that, and he's like, just you're the motherfucker who fucking doesn't let people answer the phone. And I immediately, just went to the fact that he used to be Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell's manager. And I said, Dana, what would you do? What would you do, Dana? Would you let Chuck fucking do his own deals? And then he just basically just stopped. He didn't say anything. He was pissed that I said that, but he didn't. He stopped.
But he knew it was right.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and I think that, and for you to go in and not just basically, and what a lot of people do with Dana, I'm sure, is just give him everything he wants, right? I mean, just purely because of that. But you going in, sticking to your guns, and then jabbing back professionally in a way where it was respected, that just shows confidence that he knew he was going to deal with somebody that was about their business. And that's,
I understood that where his brain came from. He got into the business of promoting mixed martial arts fights because he represented some of the greatest mixed martial artists. So he originated in my position. So he absolutely understands the mindset.
Yeah, it's so cool. Sports agency is such an intriguing thing. And thanks for sharing that stuff, John.
Yeah,
I think I had a couple questions, not that we're going to go over, but in general, where people said, hey, we would love, they were more like statements. We would love to hear more of these type of things from your guys' past sometimes, because especially if there's new listeners that don't know a lot about, maybe they just, really met us on the show, that they don't really know about stuff that or previous or whatever. I think that that's why I was trying to lead you down that path, because a lot of these things I forgot about. And the Leonard Garcia thing is amazing. Like, you picked up 2 clients when you thought you were picking up 1. Like, that's the kind of shit that happens that you can never foresee, but happens all the fucking time when you're out there trying to get it, bro. I mean, it's a great story,
man. 100%.
Lastly, we're gonna finish up with a couple things that I think they are just statements that people blanketly potentially throw out when you're either having a hard time or you're asking for advice. And unless there's a lot of context, sometimes they're meaningless, sometimes they're a little too vague. And everyone has these things like, oh, Corey, don't worry about it. Everything's just going to work out the way it's supposed to. Or, John, you know what? You just stay that course. You'll end up with the white picket fence at the end. And and I think that even though I think most people are, mean well by some of this stuff, that, be careful. We've said this a lot, but be careful how much weight you put in a lot of people's advice, especially if they're not in certain positions that you aspire to be in to some degree, because I think that there's a lot of people that take advice from people that will say aren't as skilled as maybe they are, but they're still older and they're in a position of some type of pedestal that you're taking it from. Just because they're older doesn't mean that they can actually steer your life properly. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing, because I've just heard some people lately say some shit like this, and I would look at the actual context of the situation and be like, nah, that person isn't they're not working hard enough. They stay this course, they're going to get shit in a bag at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not good. That's actually not what they need to hear. They need to hear, no, motherfucker, you need to get your shit together. It's not going to work out for you if you stay this course right now. This is not what it takes. I don't know. So that was a little bit of a rant, but
no, I get it. And I think a couple things. One, like, specificity is crucial. And two, if you're hearing these things that you may not understand, like it's going to work out or stay the course or this or that, ask people more. Ask them questions, because anyone who truly wants to gather information or understand situations better should learn to ask as many fucking questions. So if someone says that to you, say, okay, stay the course. Like, is there anything in particular that you're referring to that I'm doing well that I should keep doing? Is there anything like here? People who speak in general terms, they're fucking morons, Because when you speak in general terms, you're not helping anybody understand anything. You're not diagnosing a problem. You're just getting on a pedestal and you're basically saying, listen to me. Like, I wish people, like, I love to ask everybody questions. Questions yield information. Information yields learning. And people who speak in general terms and do not like to be questioned and do not like to give answers are people you probably shouldn't be asking questions to. So if someone makes a general statement like that and you ask them to elaborate and they hit you with some more general bullshit, put them on your moron list. That's what I would say.
Well, yeah, and I like, for instance, Jason, who we work with at CBD Social, he likes to ask more specific things. If you generalize something to him, he'll be say, well, out of what you're seeing, what could I do better, or what else could, like, he goes always that next step, and we've always seen him do nothing but improve in everything that he's done working alongside of us, right? Because he always asks that next question. So out of all of this part of the podcast, if you get that out of it, I think it's hugely valuable, is ask that next question, ask that for more information. If that person does have valuable info inside their brain, that's when it's going to start to come out. And usually if they do, and you're inquisitive like that, that's when there's another level of respect or a potential, somebody will teach you even more when they're like, they're really searching for it. Okay, yeah, I'll take some more time with this person because they're really about it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a quality that I would encourage everybody, from fucking Warren Buffett, if I talk to him, to Bill Gates, all the way down to someone who's in high school, to continue to practice until the day they die, is asking people questions, because there is no point in life where we are at a peak or stop learning. Those who think they know it all are the ones who start going downwards. People who are constantly on a quest for information, understanding, and learning are the ones that continue to increase and ascend. So this isn't just for the young guys. This is for everybody. I mean, everybody. If somebody is interesting to me, or there's something I don't fully understand, I will absolutely step back, humble myself, and give them the floor as the expert, or whatever you want to call it, in that. And I will ask them questions, because if I'm asking them questions, I'm collecting information that I can then go apply in my life. But if my ego is too big to ask them questions, because if I'm asking them questions by positioning, I'm putting them on a higher pedestal than myself. If I don't do that just because of that ego-based feeling, all I'm doing is stunting my own growth. And we all grow until we die.
Yeah, it's funny. We've talked about small talk before, right? Like when you're in those situations, like how small talk's kind of useless, but we have to do it from time to time or whatever. Yeah. I always go right into question mode, John, like what you're talking about, because I always look at it like this. All right, I don't really know this motherfucker. I'm stuck here talking to him, essentially. Once I figure out what profession they're in or what business they own or something, I'm going right in to extract information that at least is interesting. I do that all the time. It sometimes it makes people uncomfortable, but I think it's almost kind of funny to me, because I'll go real specific on certain things, because I'm like, well, fuck, if I'm going to be here doing this, I might as well get some fucking info out of it. And I do that all the time to people, and I think it always kind of like trips them out a little bit, because then they're like you said, even it kind of puts them more on a pedestal, because they're obviously the expert in the situation. You show that you actually are interested in what they got to say, because you ask something pretty specific. And, whether it's right in your wheelhouse of what your craft or what you want to do, or if it's just like, I'm just trying to draw something better out of the situation. And a lot of times I've made parallels to our business or other businesses I've been in with somebody, is doing something completely wildly different than what we do. And so I don't know. I just think you can't really ever go wrong by being inquisitive and trying to draw some stuff out of people. And I usually like that when people do that to me, because then I'm like, oh, well, fuck, at least they act like they have care, and it can have a good conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, maybe we look at it differently. Maybe we look at it the same. To me, it's just a form of. I look at it like this: every human being lives in their own bubble, me included. Yep. Every human being has their own bubble. So to not be aware that the life experiences of the people we see on a daily basis or may run into once, like there's something in their life or many things in their life that we have not experienced that they have, that they could teach us. So it's the act of humbling yourself to saying, like, to kind of zero in on something and truly want to learn about that thing that I don't know. Because if I can learn about something that's outside of my bubble that I haven't experienced, I'm a more well-informed individual. I'm a more understanding person. I can relate to more people. I just think once you stop being interested in information that comes from anybody in any walk of life, you put yourself in a fucking box, and all you do in that box is want to talk to people who agree with you. And I think that's, not to bring this back full circle, but that's a big problem in our country. People want to talk to people who think like them. Talking to someone who thinks like you doesn't benefit anybody. It's like, hey, let's. It's like we're all cheerleaders, right? We all know the same. No, I want to talk to someone who I don't know shit about fucking. I don't know shit about Guatemala, and this person's from Guatemala, and they're explaining to me the way they do certain things there, and I'm like, oh damn, I didn't know that. That's fucking interesting, man. Can you tell me more? I mean, it's just like fuck, man. There's so much to learn.
Yeah, I would definitely, as we kind of wrap this up, I would push everybody because it makes life more interesting when you operate this way. A lot of people keep to themselves and don't talk to people outside of their way of thinking. But I got to tell you, I've learned some wildly valuable stuff off people that I never anticipated, when I started that conversation off, that would come from it. You just never know who you're going to run into, talk to, or what you could learn, and people around you that you haven't maybe asked some specific thing. That's what I love about the podcast. Like having very specific topics and questions and things of this nature has made me learn a ton about John, his family, his profession, his the way he thinks and operates. And, you can get maybe not that in depth like we have for hours and hours, but you can get pieces of that, and it helps mold you over time. So I just think it's a good practice to keep and makes life more interesting too.
Yeah, that's 100%, man.
All right, Johnny. Well, good episode, man. I think it was a mashed potatoes of a little bit of everything, but I think there was some really cool stuff, and I enjoyed hearing the sports agent stuff, man. It'd been a while since we talked about that, and I think that was fun. Some of those stories are awesome, especially because I was half there, half not there, but being involved at that time, it was cool. So today is brought to you guys by Policy Genius. Of course, you got to go to policygenius.com for all your insurance needs. You got to make sure and check out Policy Genius right now. And we're going to wrap it up. Johnny Fosco!
G.
Can the podcast be stopped?
The podcast can't be stopped.